1, the chart below shows the percentage of households in different income groups that had access to the internet in a European country between 2000 and 2010. Here's the bar chart showing internet access in different income groups between 2000 and 2010. Low-income households rose from 10% to about 38%. Lower middle households increased from 20% to around 70%. Upper middle households went from 40% to 85%. High-income households started at 60% and reached 95%. Let's see the explanation step by step how to write them. Let's begin. This IELTS Academic Writing Task 1 asks you to describe a bar chart showing internet access in different income groups between 2000 and 2010. The key point is to compare how each group's access changed over the decade and identify the main trends. Key points to cover. The sample answer begins with a clear introduction, paraphrasing the question. The bar chart illustrates the proportion of households in 4 income categories that had internet access in a European country from 2000 to 2010. Next, it gives an overview, which is essential for a high band score. The overview here highlights 2 important things. 1, internet usage increased in all groups, and 2, higher income equals more access in every year. Each paragraph that follows describes the data for different groups, comparing 2000 and 2010 figures. For example, low-income households rose from only 10% to about 38%, while high-income households rose from 60% to 95%. This shows the examiner you can report trends and select key data. Effective writing features. The answer uses linking words like however, by contrast, and while to connect ideas smoothly. It summarizes the most important information without copying phrases from the question. The tone is formal and objective, as expected in IELTS academic writing. Final tip, always remember to paraphrase the question in your introduction. Give an overview that summarizes either the main trend or the biggest group. Select and compare key figures from the chart. Use linking words for coherence. Avoid giving personal opinions in Task 1. Stick to the data. This approach will help you produce clear, well-structured answers. Just like the Band 8 sample shown in the example. The bar chart illustrates the proportion of households in 4 income categories that had internet access in a European country from 2000 to 2010. Overall, internet usage increased steadily across all income groups during the period. However, households with higher incomes consistently had greater access compared to those with lower incomes. In 2000, only around 10% of low-income households had internet access, while the figure for high-income households was about 60%. Over the next decade, access rose in all groups, with the low-income category reaching just under 40% in 2010. By contrast, nearly all high-income households, around 95%, had access by the end of the period. A similar upward trend was seen among middle-income groups. Lower middle households rose from roughly 20% in 2000 to about 70% in 2010, while upper middle households increased from 40% to around 85% over the same period. In summary, although internet access expanded significantly in all income groups, the gap between the rich and the poor remained evident, with high-income households always enjoying the greatest access. Task 2. Some people think that the best way to reduce crime is to give longer prison sentences. Others, however, believe that there are better ways to reduce crime. Discuss both views and give your opinion. Let's see the explanation. This Task 2 essay is a discuss both views and give your opinion question, a classic type in IELTS writing. The statement presents 2 perspectives. Some people think longer prison sentences are the best way to reduce crime, while others believe alternative methods are more effective. How the answer is structured. The introduction paraphrases the question and explains that both views will be discussed before giving an opinion. The first main paragraph covers the arguments in favor of longer prison sentences. Strict, long-term punishment can discourage people from committing crimes. Deterrent effect. Extended sentences keep repeat offenders off the streets and protect the public, especially in serious cases like murder or terrorism. The second main paragraph explains the opposite view. Tackling the root causes, such as poor education and lack of jobs, can address why crime occurs in the first place. Rehabilitation and social support help offenders avoid returning to crime. The conclusion provides the writer's opinion. Longer sentences have a role in some cases, but combining punishment with prevention and rehabilitation is a more sustainable solution. Key features for a high band score. The answer uses topic sentences at the start of each paragraph, making the structure clear. Arguments are supported by logical explanations and relevant examples. Cohesive devices, however, furthermore, on the other hand, connect ideas smoothly. Language is formal, clear, and objective, meeting IELTS academic writing standards. Both sides are covered equally, and a balanced personal opinion is given at the end. Takeaway for IELTS candidates. When answering discuss both views questions, begin by paraphrasing the statement. Dedicate a paragraph to each view, supporting with reasons or evidence. Give your own opinion clearly, ideally in a final paragraph. Use formal, varied language and linking words to show cohesion. Crime is a persistent problem in many societies, and opinions differ on how to deal with it. While some argue that imposing longer prison sentences is the most effective solution, others believe that alternative measures are more beneficial. Both perspectives will be discussed before presenting my own view. Supporters of longer prison sentences argue that strict punishment can act as a deterrent. When potential criminals know they may face many years in prison, they may be discouraged from committing offenses. Moreover, keeping offenders behind bars for extended periods can protect society by preventing them from reoffending. For serious crimes such as murder or terrorism, long-term imprisonment may indeed be necessary for public safety. On the other hand, many people believe that addressing the root causes of crime is a more effective strategy. Education and employment opportunities, for example, can reduce poverty and give individuals alternatives to criminal behavior. Rehabilitation programs in prisons can also help offenders reintegrate into society, lowering the chances of repeated crimes. Furthermore, community policing and social support services may prevent minor offenses from escalating into serious ones. In my opinion, while longer prison terms may be justified in extreme cases, they are not a complete solution. A balanced approach that combines appropriate punishment with preventive measures, such as education and rehabilitation, is likely to be more successful in reducing crime in the long term. In conclusion, although longer prison sentences can discourage crime to some extent, investing in prevention and rehabilitation offers more sustainable benefits for society.